It says it's, oh, there we go. Okay, recording. What? Wait a minute. Let's do screen share. Ta-da. Applications, Joel. Okay, share. Here we go. Okay. So, um, Kristen, Jen, and everybody else, I, I can't tell you how excited I am to do a Galapagos Islands trip and to have my friend Brent with me. He just came back from Galapagos. He's with Lindblad, and to hear his perspective, to hear um, just everything, to learn everything I need to know about going to the Galapagos and why we want to go. So I'm gonna even pretend to pronounce your last name, but if you want to, Brent, go for it.
My name's Brent Centlivre. If we were in France, it'd be Centlivre, Joel. But here in America, we're at Centlivre, and I work for National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions. So thank you for having me. My wife and I went to the Galapagos in April, so it seems like about a week ago. So I'm really excited to share my perspective and to provide some tips for you as well. This is really exciting for us.
Listen, I'm over the moon. I told you before we started recording, this is the top of my bucket list. I want to go. I'm finally going. We made it work. It's far enough in the future that everyone can budget for it and come and travel with us. Um, we love traveling with people, and this is just a great opportunity um, for me, frankly, to go see a great place that I want to go. So I want to set the expectation for everybody. We're talking sort of high level Galapagos, why you want to go, what's exciting about it, what the experience might be with Lindblad, and all of the things that go along with it. And then at the end, we do have a travel with Jen and Joel opportunity to travel, which we'll cover. But this next handful of minutes is really, I hope, uh, edutainment. I hope it's fun, and I hope it's educational, and I hope it inspires people to go see what I think is just an epic location in the world that most people don't even realize is there. So that's sort of my perspective on this and what I hope to accomplish. Let's see if I can get this slide to move. That will be fun. Here we go. Does that change it? Hey, Jen, did that change it?
No, I still see you.
You still see me? Oh, that's not good. It should.
You got the new slide up there. I see the new slide.
You got the new slide? Okay, I'm good. I thought it was. Okay. So, Galapagos Islands, one of, I think, the undiscovered gems of the world that people with a sense of adventure and want to learn and want to just not just check off a destination, but want to really get involved and really shape the way they think and have an experience beyond just like, oh, I want to go on a beach, which has its place. I'm not disparaging that, but this is travel with a purpose. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll be honest, Joel. I didn't. I'm new to Lindblad. I joined in January, and so unlike you, this was not on my bucket list. And I had the opportunity to go to Galapagos because what I really appreciate is National Geographic Lindblad. We're the ones who pioneered this segment. Like, we're the ones who first took guests ever to the Galapagos in 1967. So we've been doing this for a very long time and taking guests there. And so I was really excited to learn. And one of the things that I really was struck by when what you just said and reminded me of, people ask me, like, what's the Galapagos like? And I have to pause, and I always just say, imagine going to Hawaii before there were people.
Cool.
And I live in Orlando, Florida, and everything's commercialized. Everything, right? You walk down the beach and you've got condos and you've got t-shirt shops and you've got 7-Elevens and you've got hotels and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you got all this stuff. And it is amazing when you go there and you're in those Galápagos Islands and it is so preserved and protected that it's you and the animals. And I mean, I am not even kidding. Like you'll click on expeditions.com and take a look at, this incredible experience that we offer. And you're going to see pictures of sea lions. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I literally would have to step over sea lions to get into my Zodiac. And it was really cool. You're walking around so there's some terrain, again, thinking of Hawaii, because many have been there. You've got kind of that hardened lava that you're walking on. It's very flat. And you got the ocean, on the side, brushing up against the coast. So it feels like you're in California or Hawaii. And you look to your right and you just got all these iguanas that aren't running away. They're just chilling. They're right there. Maybe you're doing a hike where, you literally have to stop because there is a 900-pound tortoise in front of you. And so it's just, you recognize there's a humility of, oh, we're in their place now. And you're surrounded by incredible beauty. I mean, no one takes a bad picture there. It's incredible. So, coming back, I'm much more passionate about it than I knew going there because it was just so spectacular, particularly since there weren't the people and you really get to see this really protected place.
That is so cool. Now the problem is I have to wait until like a year and a half to go see it, but thanks for that. My limited understanding and research is there's only a handful of cruises that get in. Some get in better access than others. Some have different routes than others. Some have different access to the islands and the animals and whatever than others. Explain to me, like I'm 5, why I chose Lindblad and it was the right deal.
Yeah, well, I'll explain it this way. First, to kind of start one of your points there, and what hits on this slide is that 97% is a protected national park. Again, I didn't know what that meant. I looked at it that the Galapagos, as probably many of your friends know, is off the coast of Ecuador. So you fly into Ecuador. There's 2 places you can go into. You can fly into Guayaquil or you can fly into Quito. I think Quito is a great spot for many people if you want to do if you want to spend a couple of days there before. And then you take a charter flight, a regular flight that, reminds you of a Southwest Airlines flight on Avianca, regular plane, nothing from like the TV show MASH, you're taking a real plane, you're going over to the Galápagos Islands. And what I learned, that this is really one giant national park, and Ecuador has done an incredible job preserving it. Again, I knew nothing going in, but what you see is there was 3 things that really struck me about how they've protected it. Number 1, I thought if you have a boat, much like in Florida, you can go wherever you want. If I want to sail the Galapagos and go to all the series of islands there, I can do it, but you can't there. They have restricted the number of boats that can access the Galapagos to, I think it's 74 boats. That's it. That includes mega yacht ships. That includes like us at National Geographic Lindblad, including other tour boats, only 74. So it's really limited, just if you think about that. The next part I thought was amazing was on each island, the government caps that only, I think it's like 100 people a day are able to go to that island.
Wow.
That's amazing. And then within that, when you are being guided around on these islands, you have to be in a group of no more than 16 people. 16. 17 against the law. You have to have no more than 16. So again, what that does is when you're walking around, you're not seeing trash. You are going through this incredible environment and it feels very personal and intimate. And for us at National Geographic Lindblad, people are really drawn because we pioneered this segment. We brought guests there for the first time. We are somebody who because we're affiliated with National Geographic and have been for 20 years, people want to learn from National Geographic. They think about, hey, I remember at Mima's house and she used to have a stack of National Geographics, and that was Google before Google.
Right.
You open up those magazines and I'm going to Egypt or Antarctica or the Galapagos, and we take you there. And what amazed me, Joel, was you've got a lot of different backgrounds on board that ship. Mm-hmm. What I appreciated was you did have people that were medical doctors and researchers. I had a guy from SpaceX that was on board. So you had some very smart people, and probably like you, that have done a lot of research. They're so excited about this. They've been studying about this. And they had questions to ask the expedition leaders. And not one time did I hear an expedition leader say, I don't know the answer. Or, oh, I'm going to have to get back to you. This is their life's work. And so they have dedicated their lives to knowing the environment, knowing the animals, and it was absolutely wonderful. And the last part about that is the Galapagos and the government mandates that there is a course that everyone has to take and pass in order to be a tour guide there. And I think one of the stipulations is you have to be born and raised in the Galapagos or have lived there for a period of 10 years. So you're not getting interns from, Rollins College or the University of Arkansas that is there for the summer. You're getting pros. And so I think that's what people are drawn to, because they're like, I want to learn. I want to go to this incredible destination and be with other people that are also there to take incredible pictures, learn about the environment. So it's a special place.
Yeah. I'm over the moon on this one. I may have skipped a day or two in high school, and that turned out to be the day they taught everything.
Wow.
It was remarkable, the ability that these teachers had to teach everything when I wasn't there. And so for me, travel is like just taking part in Earth's biggest classroom, right? Like going to these places and seeing the animals and seeing things from a different perspective and whatever. And yeah, you're killing me here. Now I got to wait till February. But anyway, it's a separate problem. Let's see what the next one says. So, whether you are an evolutionist, whether you believe in divine creation or whatever the case may be, the bottom line is the Galapagos is a classroom, right? I mean, you're going, you touched on it, but you're learning from experts. You're seeing things unspoiled, untouched. You're getting a new perspective, and whether you like it or not, you're learning something. Correct?
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point with the Charles Darwin Foundation. Everybody stops there. It's a stop there. And yeah, it's not like you're sitting there and you're talking about, let's talk about evolution. To me, it was way more of a focus on the environment, where it's dedicated to helping raise tortoises and help with other turtles and other animals. And so when you walk through there, it is really, really special being able to walk through that foundation, see the museum, see where he worked, how he was inspired. And again, you're going to a place where there's no other predators. So it is really a special place. And so when we went to the Charles Darwin Foundation there in the museum, it was a highlight of the trip. My pro tip, Joel, because I'm sure you are someone who's like, what's the insider tip for you? That day when you go, bring cash. Bring cash. And the reason why I mentioned that is because I've got my Apple Pay. I've got my 50 credit cards. And it's like 1 in 10 stores, 1 in 15 stores accept it. So bring cash. That's my pro tip.
Do they like American dollars, or do they prefer something else?
Oh, they'll take that American dollar. You know that. You know that.
Yeah, I got you. I feel like a broken record. I'm so excited to do this.
Yes.
Wildlife everywhere. Of course, the tortoises get the big mentions, and the blue-footed boobies get the big deal. only because as an 8th grade boy, it's funny, and
Still funny.
For the rest of us, it's just really cool. So you get up close and personal with all the animals, right? It's not like you got to have you're not a mile away and you're hoping to see something. You're right here, right?
Yeah, I'm really happy you brought that up because, again, I went in thinking, I don't know what this is going to be like. You're seeing animals everywhere. And one thing that you haven't touched on, and maybe you will, is the snorkeling. If you have people that like to snorkel, I mean, I am not kidding, and I know that I'm all hyped up about it. It is like snorkeling in an aquarium. I mean, you are looking down and you have got literally sea lions going underneath you, or tortoises swimming. I saw iguanas swimming, and beautiful fish. And you get on board, it's all included. They put you in a wetsuit. And, I went in a little cocky, like, well, I'm from Florida. I don't need to be, I'm used to this weather. Yeah. But it was really nice because the wetsuit keeps you buoyant. So it was much easier to be able to float and look down. And so that was really special. Some people that might be listening to this or might be on the call might say, oh, gosh, I don't like to snorkel. I don't like to swim. That's not for me. No problem. Because what we do is during the day, there's kind of like 3 periods of time where there's activities. And we want to make this available and really inclusive for all ability levels, because we understand you might be in your 80s and you're like, you know what? I don't want to swim. That's not for me anymore. No problem. We will have maybe a Zodiac ride. We usually always have a Zodiac ride as an incredible option to be able to take people around the island where we are at that time. But with the snorkeling, it was just breathtaking. And I think we went on 3 different days to 3 different places, and they were all very unique. And what I did like is you usually have of one of the expedition leaders, someone that is kind of a dive expert. So what they end up doing is they dive down with their underwater cameras. And so they take all this video and still pictures, and then they will show and then what we do at Lindblad is every evening we bring the entire ship together, because you're only on a ship with 96 people. So really small. And so there might be there's an evening where we will show all those underwater pictures. So maybe you might not be someone that likes to swim or snorkel, but you're still going to get the experience of seeing what it's like down there. So the wildlife is such a huge component.
That's really cool. And this is all included. It's not an upcharge. It's you have the stuff, you have the wetsuit, here you go. We have somebody to go with you, not an upcharge.
Yeah, and Joel, I really, really appreciate you bringing this up, because so often, and I think all of us on here have been on trips, especially cruises, where you just kind of get over paying for the cruise, and then, now I got to pay for shore excursions. If you go to a place like Alaska, you might be paying $2,000 just to walk off the ship with your family. But with Lindblad, all of our shore excursions are included. All of our shore excursions are included, and so is all of our alcohol. So I look at this like with the shore excursions, you don't have to sign up for anything. Everything's included. All the equipment is included. We want to take the stress away, so you're just focusing on enjoying your trip.
That's amazing. That's just ridiculous. So we touched on some of this, so we don't have to go crazy over it, but there's things that you see here that you're not going to see anywhere. And I see a picture of a Zodiac. I'm guessing that's part of the Lindblad experience. I mean, that's the key, right? I'm going to the Galápagos, and there's things that I'm going to see there that don't exist anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is, but it's quiet. And you're really, it gives you an opportunity to decompress. It changes your focus in life, because again, it's not like you're going to South Beach. You are going to the complete opposite. Yeah. And just to tag on to your Zodiac comment, one of the things I hear, again, you might have some people that are older, and they might say, oh gosh, I don't know, is it hard getting into those things? Absolutely not. We usually have 2 to 3 staff members per Zodiac. And they're doing kind of the sailor grip, and holding you by both arms to get you on board.
Yep.
And I underscore that because there might be people who are like, oh, I don't know if this is for me, but it really is. I mean, we've been doing this for so long that we've really kind of refined it of having activities for specific people and ability levels, being very careful about getting people on and off. The one thing I would share, Joel, I mean, just to be candid, is most of our ships, in this ship, the Endeavor 2, it doesn't have an elevator. So if that might be a non-starter for you. But for most people that like to be outdoors, that are active, walking upstairs is fine. And so that's something that you'll really appreciate. But those Zodiacs become your friends. You get to see all sorts of incredible things when you're in the Galapagos.
Yeah, I mean that's really neat. And you touched on it. I want to dig a little deeper. You said there's different activities throughout the day for different interests and whatever. Can you expand on that just briefly?
Yeah. So, I mean, as my wife, I'm so happy I took my wife on this because she said, this is not a cruise. I mean, this is adult summer camp. Mm-hmm. I mean, you are, if you choose, but we were up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Breakfast was at 7. 8 o'clock is your first activity, just kind of that first tranche of activities where it's, usually a hike or a Zodiac ride. Then you come back, and usually all those activities are basically an hour and a half, and you're back on the ship. Your snacks and food and beverages all included. Then in the afternoon, there's usually another, tranche of activities, usually 2 or 3 to pick, usually one snorkeling. Then you come back and have lunch. Then there's kind of a sunset one. Like, a couple times we did just a beach, we landed the Zodiacs on the beach. You were able to just enjoy that. Or it was a sunset hike. Then you come back on the ship, have dinner. But before dinner, like I said, and this is really nice, we bring the entire ship together. We talk about our day. We talk about what we're going to do tomorrow. And in that, Joel, what I appreciate is there are some hikes. For me in Florida, all I do is hike just one level flat that are flat. There are others that are kind of up a hill. And they show you pictures and they show you videos to say, this is what the hike's going to look like. If you don't like to hike up things that are kind of at a slant, this might not be for you. So I really appreciated that. So you're not like scared, like, oh my gosh, I picked the wrong thing and now I got to go straight up a hill. Nothing. They want to give you as much information as possible. Then just 2 quick things. After you have that meeting, we have dinner. Usually there's some sort of an activity at night. Either we're bringing in local entertainment from the Galapagos. Maybe for 3 days when I was on board, they had a penguin documentary. So by the time that's over at 11 o'clock, you're exhausted.
Yeah, well, yeah. This sounds like sounds like you can choose your activity level and whatever. The running joke with all of my adventures is Jen drags me to the top of every building, monument, whatever, knowing that I'm terribly afraid of heights, right?
Oh,
so she purposefully finds, yeah, that's her battle cry. I don't know if you could hear that. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So her battle cry is, I'm going to make you do things that you don't want to do so that you're terrified out of your mind. Now, that's not just heights. It could be snorkeling. I'm a little nervous about snorkeling, although when I get there, so I'll do it. Or taking one of the little rides to the top of a mountain like we did in South Africa, or the top of a huge building and wherever we are and whatever. And the answer is, if I'm going, I want to experience it to the best of my ability, and put all of my irrational fears aside. But if I really couldn't do something physically on this or anything else, it sounds like there are fallback options.
Not only are there fallback options, if for whatever reason there's an issue, we've got so much staff around you, we will whisk you away and get you back on the ship if that's what you need.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. There we go. A day in the Galapagos. We kind of touched on that. So I looked at the itinerary. I chose it carefully based on a variety of factors. But for those who have not yet seen where we're going and what we're doing, tell me briefly. It's not so. One of the things that we looked at was, do we do it Galapagos by land, or do we do Galapagos by sea, for lack of a better word, with an expedition cruise? What do I gain by doing it this way versus staying at a hotel on one of the islands and hoping to get around to some of the other ones?
I know I'm paid by Lindblad, but I'm going to talk to you as a friend. Joel, if you and I were sitting in my house right now, this is what I'd tell you. I would not. This is not a place to do it by a hotel. It's just not. I mean, again, I'm using Hawaii as the example. The Galapagos is a giant series of islands. There are no hotels. I mean, there's like 3 hotels. So what you want to do is be in a vessel where you're able to circumnavigate and go into these nooks and crannies. And what I really like is when you look at our itinerary, for some people, I'm going to be flippant, it's jarring because there's none of this, oh, it's Thursday, we must be in Nassau. Oh, it's Friday, we must be in Ocho Rios. You don't have that. And the precise reason is every morning, the expedition leader and the captain of the ship literally talk to say, where are we going to go? Here's a pack. Hey, I saw a huge pack of sea lions. Why don't we take everybody over there? And it just makes it way better than what I would imagine. And I'm a hotel guy, trust me. But for this specific area, as you can imagine, if you're in Hawaii, to be able to be on the ship and just go around to the different islands and have someone that is dedicated their life to this region, it's really special.
Yeah, a friend of mine yesterday morning, I was speaking to a friend about we're doing this trip, and he had done this a number of years ago, and he said we were on, and it was the week after one of the volcanoes had erupted, and the captain of the ship said, well, that's interesting. We're going to change our itinerary and we're going to get as close to that as possible. I'm like, that doesn't happen on 3,000 passenger cruise ships in the Caribbean.
Yes.
It's a different thing entirely.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I think people are drawn to. And I think the other part that I really appreciate too is, unlike being on a Princess Cruise or Holland America, we have an open bridge policy. So you can knock on the captain's door, not his bedroom door, but you can go into the bridge and be able to talk to the captain and the staff.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think about my father-in-law, that's a Navy veteran. How incredible would that be to be able to talk to the captain that is navigating? And that same captain may be someone that has worked on our Antarctica ships, being able to talk about those things. So for us, I think people are drawn to us because they want to be with the industry leader. They also want to be in an environment where I can learn things. I don't mind asking questions because that's why people are there. And that, to me, is very emblematic about that open bridge policy.
Yeah, that is just unbelievable. So we happen to be going in February of 2027. We're an awful lot of fun to travel with. And I hope everybody who is seeing this wants to come and hang out with us and watch me try not to drown. As a joke. Oh yeah, sorry, that's a joke. Swim as fast as I can from sea turtles and whatever. But anyway, so I'm hoping that everybody will come along with us. But obviously, Galapagos is a year-round destination for those who can't wait for us to go in a year and a half, or just can't make the dates that we're going. We chose February because it seemed like the best chance to have good weather, to see a lot of the nature, to see it seemed like, for a variety of reasons, the best opportunity for us to go. But I might be putting you on the spot here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And you can punt if you're not sure. You travel there year round, and there is benefit to traveling year round. Agree or disagree?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is an area, again, you're right on the equator, so you really, it's not like, oh, I'm going to go in December and it's going to be snowy. I mean, it is really just generally the climate is very, very similar. I went in April, and so I just thought it was great. It just reminded me is very, very similar to Florida, just the same sort of, probably a little bit less hot. But I really kind of equated it to that type of climate. And February, as I understand, is equally a great time to be able to go to the Galapagos.
Is there any time that is less than ideal that you're aware of?
To be honest, I've not heard of one. I've not heard of any kind of, season or anything, because quite honestly, we have 4 ships there year round. If that was the case, we would redeploy our ships during those lower seasons or whatever it is, but we've got 4 ships there year round.
Cool. So hopefully you can come with us in February. If you can't, there's lots of opportunities. We touch on this very briefly. Let's talk expedition versus mainline regular cruises. I have not yet done expedition. This will be my first one. I've done plenty of mainline regular cruises. Shape my expectations a little.
Yeah. I really appreciate you bringing this up. There's a couple of things. My background is selling ocean cruises, and you get so used to the specialty dining and how big is your roller coaster on board and the 5,000 pools, and the focus is really on the ship. That's what they sell. Royal Caribbean is not talking about Nassau,
Right.
But expedition is all about the destinations where we're going. But the ship, you're spending a bunch of money to go. We have it very well appointed. I went on the ship you're going on, the Endeavor 2. I thought it was great. I look at it as kind of a premium level experience. The bedrooms were great, really comfortable. Every room had a window to be able to look outside. Bathrooms were really nice. There's a couple common areas. One was where we bring the entire ship together, which is kind of our lounge. We have a couple of libraries on board. We have one main dining room, and that's where we have your breakfast, lunch, and your dinner. And so that's nice. Very well appointed. I mean, you can go to expeditions.com and look up the Endeavor 2, and you'll see it's really nice. And again, because of our guests, you are spending a lot of money and a lot of time with us, and the expectations are high. So I think sometimes you might hear the word expedition, and you're like, my bathrooms, I'm going to be going to the bathroom in the middle of the floor. That's not it. It feels like a regular cruise ship type experience. One of the things that I did really appreciate is that 2 things. One is that I talked to guests who I thought they probably had done, using Royal Caribbean as an example. They did Royal Caribbean, they did Celebrity, they did Silversea. Now they're doing Expedition. And that wasn't the case. There was many guests who this was their first cruise, because they said, you know what? They would say, I think sailing with 5,000 people is gross. And they really liked the idea of the Endeavor 2. It's only 96 people. And so what I like too is that they gave every guest a name tag. Every guest. Cool. So you don't have to wear it. But man, it was sure nice, because you're eating when it's only 96 people and you're there for a week, these people. And so it was nice just to be reminded of their names. It really created this sense of community that you would never have. And and Joel, you go on the big lines, you might meet someone the day you're getting on the ship. You might not see them until the end. Right. So that's something that it is different from that perspective. But generally the people that are going on Lindblad, they're there because of people just like you. I want to go to this destination. I'm excited to go. I want to have premium accommodations when I get back on the ship, a great dining experience when I'm on, but I'm here to be outside, which is a different perspective than ocean.
Yeah, that is, I think that's interesting to me, because it seems like a whole new. I've not done really small ship things yet, and so this will be really my first adventure with this, and I just it's all the things. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's all the things you love without 10 million people along with you, right? It's good food, it's exceptional service, it's comfortable rooms and all of that stuff, but you're with less than 100 of your new best friends who are all having this epic experience together, a shared experience, that you don't have to be friends with them for the rest of your life, but for that week, it's like, yeah, we're doing this together.
Yeah, and I want to expand on a couple of those things there that I learned. One was that I feel like I'm a well-traveled person, and you may have people. And there might be people on this call who are like, "Oh, Ecuador! I've never been to Ecuador. I'm a little nervous." Maybe there are people like that. I'll tell you, when I came off the plane, we flew from Orlando, went to Bogota, and arrived in Guayaquil. And as soon as we came off, cleared customs, you're right there at baggage claim. Instantly, 2 people from National Geographic Lindblad met us, greeted us. You feel like, oh my, you feel like a VIP. Helped us get our luggage. Those 2 people, the same ones, got us on a Sprinter van. They were with us on the Sprinter van all the way to the hotel. Escorted us to the front of the check-in, got us in exclusively, told us about the next morning, the private breakfast we were all going to have together. Then the next morning, magically, you put your bag outside of your hotel room and that thing magically goes to your cabin on the ship. So you're like, wow. And then the same thing on the way on the reverse. When we got off the ship and we were flying out of Guayaquil, when we flew out of, we got on board our plane, we had people that were there to help us, get us to checking in for our flight, then walking us over to security while we were in Ecuador. And so those are things where that was something I did not expect, is that level of care. So when you're coming, you don't have to have that fear of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be all alone. I'm not going to know anybody. We got staff there to be able to guide you along the way. So that to me was really special. And so just like you said, a much more intimate experience, and much more, it feels luxurious. We wouldn't call ourselves a luxury company, but just feels a little bit more luxurious and tailored to yourself.
Very cool. That is exceptional. So practical stuff. We talked a little about pro tips with having money instead of credit cards and whatever, but was there anything that surprised you about what you should have had or shouldn't have had? I'll give you a quick side story. I went to Alaska knowing it was going to be cold. This is recently. It's July, right? It's now July. This was at the end of May. I knew it was going to be cold, and yet I did not pack a hat, gloves, a coat. I had long sleeve shirts, flannels, and things, but I paid the price for that pretty quickly, and then overpaid for a hat, gloves, a coat. So for those of us who have not yet been to the Galapagos, were there any surprises, or what do you think we need?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of things. I would bring multiple types of shoes. The first purchase I would make are, I'm going to call them water shoes. I use the brand Teva, Teva, because there are multiple water landings where literally you're going from the Zodiac, you're putting both feet in the water, and then you're taking steps onto the sand, and then you're going to start a hike. Mm-hmm. So those water shoes, Teva, just using my own personal experience, was fantastic. I mean, they had those nice big thick soles. It was like a gym shoe, and the shoe dried very quickly. So I could go right from having feet in the water to going on a hike. So water shoes is key. I'd also have a pair of flip-flops. I'd also have a pair of tennis shoes. And then, maybe if you want to have some more casual shoes to be able to wear on the ship, they want you to have shoes on board. So I think that's important. But, one of the things I would say that, when we talk about the differences between an ocean cruise and expedition, and my wife pointed this out, and again, God bless being married, because women share things that you would never pick up on as a man.
100%.
We walked in the dining room one night and she said, "Take a look at the ladies here." And I go, "I only have eyes for you, honey."
Yeah, no, sorry.
And
women
she
on
said, "No,
board?
she's like, no, look at their hair. Look how many people have wet hair here. How many people have got their hair slicked back in a ponytail and it's still wet?" She goes, "We've never been on a cruise like that."
Right.
And I go, "Oh my gosh, you're right. You don't have okay, I've got 3 hours to get ready and I want to impress everybody else on board." That's just not a thing. You'll have people that may dress up, but I'm telling you, by day 2, they're in their polo shirt and shorts. A lot of people are wearing just their Columbia sportswear outfit, and that's it. And to me, I really like that, because there wasn't that pressure of, oh my gosh, there's doctors here and maybe I need to dress up. Not at all. So really, most of your day-to-day wear is all workout gear. It's a lot of workout pants and stuff that you would go to the gym in. Very, very casual. And I think that's something I kind of thought of, but once I was on board, I'm like, yeah, that's the way this goes. Absolutely.
So you're singing to me now. I don't have to bring my tux.
Yes.
No
formal night. Yeah.
I don't need a suit and tie. You're speaking my language. I'm in. If I wasn't
Nice.
already, I'm in. Okay, all right, that's cool. Cameras, those kind of things, important. Cell phones, okay? Or
yeah. So there's 2 things too. Again, God bless my wife. We went on Amazon and bought a very inexpensive GoPro. It wasn't a GoPro, but it was the same thing. Little camera. I mean, the size of a mouse, a computer mouse. And that thing took incredible underwater pictures. Wow. So pictures and video was really fantastic. She also bought one of those sleeves you put your phone in so it becomes waterproof. That was really smart to do. So those 2 things, I think, I think the fake GoPro might have been $25, $40. I mean, it's really inexpensive, but I would suggest that. A lot of people are going to bring their own cameras on. Fantastic. Bring those on. We do have people on board that can help you take better pictures. Well, in fact, there's a class where they teach you how to take better pictures with your iPhone.
Wow, cool.
Like, this was great. So it's wonderful.
Cool. Okay, let's move along. Here we are, February 2027. The exact date is the 26th through March 7th, 2027. We have a handful of rooms. A lot of them, a few of our handful are already spoken for. If we have to, we'll get some more. But I want to encourage everybody to go to the Galapagos in general. And if you can come with us, all the better. That would be really fun. We love traveling with our friends. But we picked this date, as I said, because of the weather and what we understood about that and the time of the year and how that impacted. But the other thing is, I hate to admit this, but money doesn't grow on trees in my universe. And so we wanted to pick a date far enough out that we could put it on the calendar, pay our deposit, and have enough time to pay for it, because all of these wonderful things that we've been talking about are not free. This is not an inexpensive vacation. This is an once in a lifetime experience, and for most of us, we are going to have to do some budgeting for it. So I'm not sure you have anything to add here, Brent, but I think from my perspective, what I want to say is we talk a lot about price versus value. If you want to have an exceptional experience, you can't do that and expect to pay $50 for it. You could go to all these places and you could always find it for less money. Lindblad is not the least expensive option on the planet. It is the best. It is the best. It's going to deliver the best experience. If you have anything to add to that, jump in. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think one of the things that the cruise industry has kind of conditioned people on is, oh, so this is the starter price. Then I got to pay all this money once I get on board. And that happens, right? I mean, you're on some ships, you're spending literally hundreds of dollars on Wi-Fi. Not with us, it's all included. So when you take a look at the price that Joel's giving you, and we work together to create this great group for you. Number one, all your shore excursions are included. There's nothing to sign up for. Your Wi-Fi is included. Your drinks are included. That includes alcohol. Now, if you're ordering top shelf stuff, it doesn't. But all your beer, wine, your regular cocktails are included. Wi-Fi, all of your meals, and all of the lectures on board. So exactly what Joel said. When you take a look at the price, remember that's all inclusive. So that's something that is really, really nice. And that's what guests tell me is they're like, oh. Yeah, I mean, the price might be a little bit higher, but for all you're getting for that entire experience is really, really worth it.
Yeah, we looked at no less than 10 options, and expedition, mainline, land, this company, that company. We looked at it all, and as I said, and I can't remember if it was while we were recording or not, this is the top of my bucket list. If I'm going, I'm doing it in style. I'm not checking off a destination to say, oh, yeah, I went to the Galápagos. I'm doing it. I'm doing it first rate. And so to me, this is the balance of price versus value. It's maybe more expensive, although I think what you say is absolutely true. The inclusions, everybody starts with a lower price and then nickel and dimes you to death. It's death by 1,000 cuts. So that was appealing to me, that it was one price and that's it. All of your stuff is included. But I think the experience versus price thing is so far out of line to the experience part of it. I think this is such a great price and such a great experience. I can't even. That's really why I reached out to you in the first place. So that's the story with that.
I've got one parting comment.
Yep.
The last thing I'll say that we did not touch on, and I should have earlier, is that we also want your kids. We also have family programs on board. So if you are someone who's got kids or grandkids and you're like, you know what, I want to have an experience where my kids aren't on their iPad or their iPhone the whole time, they won't be here. You're not going to be able to go kayaking or paddleboarding when you're on your iPad. And that's something that I see there's a big draw with parents where they're like, I want to do something that's in nature. We're doing it together as a family. And we have literally structured programs for families. So they get to do science. So why read about tortoises when you can see them, when you can learn about them? And that's something that's really powerful. So I mentioned that if you've got kids and you're thinking, ooh, I don't know, trust me, almost 10% of maybe 15% of the passengers on my ship that I went were under the age of 18. And they all became kind of this great gang together. Yeah. So it was really special to watch them. So that's kind of my parting thought for those people that want to go. Joel, you've done an incredible job today. I'm so happy. It's been so great working on this group, and I'm looking forward to hosting you in 27.
Yeah, it's going to be exceptional. That was actually one of my notes too, that this is, first of all, whoever I end up traveling will be grateful that I'm not tied to my phone for our trip. But the kids too. I mean, whatever. Anyway, so we have exclusive rates. We have limited availability. If you can travel with us, please reach out, and you can find more information at jjtravelassociates.com. You can call us 201-786-6275. If you can't go in February 2027, or you want to go before then, you just can't wait, reach out, and we'll answer all your questions and get you on your way to the Galapagos. And Brent, I really appreciate you sitting in with me today and answering all my questions. I can't wait to share all the stories of all the fun that we have when we go as a group. So I really appreciate you.
It's my pleasure. And once you told me this is the biggest travel podcast in the world, I said, I've got to go on.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, yeah, tell your friends. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.